Okay, let's get into this. Today we are attempting, well, more than attempting, a deep dive into some pretty sacred ground, hallowed ground even, and definitely difficult ground.
That's putting it mildly.
We are heading straight to Pine Valley Golf Club. Now, this place, it's consistently ranked #1, like the #1 golf course in the entire world by pretty much every major golf publication you can think of.
Absolutely. It holds that top spot year after year.
So our mission today, it sounds simple, but I think it's pretty profound. Figure out in real detail why. Why does this place hold that title? Especially when its reputation, its whole identity seems built not on, gentle beauty, but on pure, unadulterated punishment.
That's the fascinating core of it, isn't it? Pine Valley doesn't seem to want to be friendly or easy. Its global rank is earned precisely because it's the opposite of easy play. It's known specifically for being the ultimate test of golf.
The ultimate test.
And maybe, just maybe, the toughest course anywhere. Full stop. And the location adds this layer of, well, irony. This mythical, world-class place is hidden away, tucked into the sandy pine barrens of southwest New Jersey. Not exactly where you'd picture the world's best.
Right. It's not Pebble Beach overlooking the ocean. And when you look into the history, the lore around just finding the place, it's almost mythological itself. It wasn't just a drive. It was like a quest.
Totally. We're talking pre-GPS days. Your navigation system was useless.
So how did people find it?
Well, the story goes you knew you were getting close when you started to hear it. Over the sound of the highway, your tires, you'd hear this sound.
Which was?
Wailing and lamentations on the wind.
No way. Seriously.
That's the legend. An agonized chorus, supposedly getting louder as you turned off towards the Clementon Amusement Park, which is about 30 minutes out of Philly. Then you just had to listen for the cries of the poor souls who played before you.
Wow. That paints a picture, a very exclusive, slightly terrifying picture, like golf purgatory.
It does. But the land itself, it's not just random scrubland. That landscape, where the founder George Crump picked the spot, it has this deep, almost geological significance. Geologists actually think the area was once the ocean floor.
The ocean floor in
Yeah.
South Jersey.
Yeah. And even before humans, it was headquarters for the Lenni Lenape Native Americans. So there's this ancient quality to it.
And that history, the sandy soil, it's key to the course.
Fundamentally. Herbert Warren Wind, the great golf writer, he noted it had the characteristics of good links land, sandy base, good drainage, perfect for firm fairways. But he also said it was full of abrupt ridges, sudden dips, swirls, and what he called a general anxiety.
A general anxiety in the land itself.
Exactly. That feeling isn't just in the golfer. It's like baked into the soil. You feel it under your feet.
So you're dealing with a course where the ground itself is almost actively working against you. Land that used to be the seabed, designed by someone who wanted to recreate the challenge of Scottish links, but maybe even harder.
Yeah,
We need to unpack how that vision became reality.
definitely. There hasn't really been another course quite like it built since. It's certainly none that demands such perfect execution on, well, every single shot.
Okay, so let's talk about the man behind this intense vision, George Arthur Crump. He was a successful hotel guy, right? From Philadelphia, an amateur golfer himself.
That's right. And he had this single-minded obsession. His dream was to create a golf course that could stand shoulder to shoulder with the legendary links of Scotland and England, but build it right there in the, pretty undeveloped Pine Barrens.
And he found this huge piece of land in the early 1910s.
Yeah, basically just sand dunes and scrub pine forest. And his goal wasn't just build a course. It was specific. Challenge the world's best golfers.
Yeah.
But, and this is crucial, do it while preserving the natural, rugged, almost hostile beauty of that land.
He didn't want to tame it completely.
Exactly. He wanted to work with its difficulty. The club was officially incorporated December 1st, 1912. That's when the grand plan really kicked off.
And the building process itself sounds epic. Started around 1913, mostly sheer manpower, shovels, picks, wheelbarrows.
Pure grit, moving literal mountains of sand. It took about 2 years of really grueling work. But the tragic part of the story, Crump never saw it finished.
Oh, really?
He died suddenly in 1918, just months, literally months, before the course officially opened on May 31st, 1919. So the entire club, Pine Valley itself, became his enduring and incredibly challenging monument.
Wow. That makes the design story even more interesting. It was his vision, but he wasn't there at the very end. So who else was involved? It became a collaboration.
A huge collaboration.
Yeah.
And that's maybe why it's so unique. He brought in the biggest names in golf architecture at the time, most famously Harry S. Colt.
The English architect, Muirfield,
Yeah.
Royal Portrush. That guy.
The very same. Holt worked closely with Crump on the routing, the basic layout of the holes. But here's the amazing part.
Yeah.
Colt only spent 2 weeks on the property. 2 weeks.
That's it, for the #1 course in the world.
Yep. It seems Crump absorbed Colt's ideas and then just relentlessly applied them, adapted them to that specific New Jersey landscape. But others chipped in too. A.W. Tillinghast, George C. Thomas Jr., Walter Travis. They all gave input.
A real brain trust of early gift design.
Absolutely. And then after Crump died, Hugh and Alan Wilson actually finished the construction. Later on, guys like William Flynn and Perry Maxwell made some important revisions too. It was like this ongoing architectural conversation over decades.
And all that expertise led to this unique design philosophy. You mentioned it blends different styles.
Yes, this is key to understanding Pine Valley's genius, or maybe it's sadism. It manages to blend all 3 main schools of golf course design. Penal, heroic, and strategic. Often on the same hole. Robert Trent Jones, another legendary architect, called Pine Valley the perfect example of penal golf course architecture.
Okay, hold on. Penal, heroic, strategic. We need to unpack those for anyone listening who isn't like a total architecture nerd. Why is mixing them so special?
Good point. Let's do a quick breakdown. Penal design is the most direct. It punishes a bad shot. Severely. Immediately. No negotiation. Miss the target, and you pay a heavy price. Think of the 10th hole at Pine Valley, which we'll definitely get to. Miss that green by a foot, and you might as well write down a big number.
Okay, so penal is instant justice, or injustice, depending on your shot. What about strategic?
Strategic design gives you choices. There's usually a safer route and a riskier route. Take the risk, maybe carry a bunker, cut a corner, and you're rewarded with a better angle for your next shot, or maybe a shorter approach. It asks you to think, to plot your way around. Pine Valley has this too, like on some par 4s where daring drives can shorten the hole.
Makes sense. Choices, risks, rewards. And the last one, heroic.
Heroic is basically risk-reward turned up to 11. It demands a big, bold shot, often a long carry over a significant hazard like water or sand, to reach a specific target area, usually the green or a advantageous part of the fairway. It tests your nerve as much as your skill. The 4th hole at Pine Valley, a monster par 4, needs a heroic blind shot off the tee.
Got it. So Pine Valley mixes all 3.
Constantly. You might face a strategic tee shot where you pick your line, but then the approach shot to the green is purely penal miss and you're dead.
Yeah.
Or you might need a heroic carry just to reach a green complex that then demands incredibly strategic putting. You're constantly shifting gears mentally. You never get comfortable.
That definitely explains the general anxiety Wynn talked about. It's built right into the choices you have to make.
Precisely. And that core philosophy, that constant testing, has been preserved even with updates. Tom Fazio did some work recently, mainly removing trees.
Oh, making it easier.
Not at all. The opposite, actually. Removing trees opened up sightlines, yes, but it exposed the vast sandy areas even more. And, critically, it let the wind become a much bigger factor across the course. More sand, more wind, harder.
Okay. So it wasn't about aesthetics. It was about amplifying the challenge.
Exactly. They also moved some tee boxes back. Made sure the hard holes stayed hard, or got even harder, even with modern golf ball and driver technology. Fazio's bunker work also gave the sandy areas a more intricate, almost menacing look. It reinforced Crump's idea. Pine Valley isn't a course with hazards, it's one massive hazard with occasional patches of grass.
And this reputation for difficulty, it wasn't gradual, it was immediate.
Instantaneous. After it opened in 1919, the sources say it took 3 full years before anyone pro, top amateur, anyone managed to shoot 70. 3 years.
Wow. It just completely reset the bar for what tough meant in golf.
Which leads to one of the great Pine Valley stories. The members, they knew what they had built, so they apparently had this standing bet. Any first-timer couldn't break 80.
Okay.
Fast forward to 1954. A young, not yet famous, and apparently pretty broke, Arnold Palmer shows up. He was about to get married and desperately needed cash.
Oh man, the pressure.
Right. So Palmer, with all that on the line, takes every bet he can find from the members, goes out, first time seeing the course, and shoots 68.
68. His first time.
Clean them all out. He said later he had absolutely no idea what he would have done if he hadn't won. He just couldn't afford to lose. It perfectly sums up Pine Valley. It forces you to find something extraordinary, or it breaks you.
It really feels like the entire place was built around that one single idea from Crump. Just a pretty good shot is of no use at all. It's not enough to be decent. You have to be perfect, or else.
That's the mantra. and it defines the hazards. Pine Valley's approach to sand, for instance, is completely unique. Forget those perfectly manicured, gleaming white bunkers you see on TV.
What's different?
Well, the big rule is there are no rakes at Pine Valley.
Wait, what? No rakes? None. So the traps just stay as they are.
Essentially, yes. Golfers are asked only to sort of smooth out their deepest footprints with their feet or a club. That's it, the rest. Left to the wind, the rain, the previous golfer's bad luck.
Well,
Which is why people say it's not a course with bunkers. It's one big hazard with occasional patches of grass. You're not just hitting out of a sand trap, you're hitting out of the raw New Jersey wilderness, whatever state you find it in.
that changes everything psychologically. A normal bunker is a challenge, sure. But an unraked, windblown patch of sand where you might be in someone else's crater, that's terrifying.
It underlines the extreme penal nature. And nothing shows this idea of wilderness as hazard better than the 7th hole. It's the longest on the course.
Yeah.
A monster par 5. 636 yards from the tips.
And right in the middle of it sits maybe the most infamous single hazard in golf. Hell's Half-Acre.
Legendary. And it's not just a big bunker. It's this massive, sprawling, sandy waste area that cuts right across the fairway. You either have to hit a bomb over it or play 2 incredibly precise shots to get past it.
And it's not just sand, is it?
No way. It's an ecosystem in there. You've got scrub oak, Scotch broom, pine bushes, mountain laurel, all waiting to grab your ball. If you don't carry it, you're not just in the sand.
Yeah.
You're lost in this hostile environment. You're
Yeah.
probably chipping out sideways, if you can even find it. Maybe taking a penalty.
It's not a mistake. It's like being banished.
Good.
Okay, so after you somehow survive Hell's Half-Acre, I imagine you need a break. Which brings us to that famous landmark, the windmill.
Ah, yes, the Dutch-inspired windmill water tower. It looks a bit out of place, maybe, but it serves as the halfway house. A welcome sight, beverages, snacks, and apparently handfuls of ibuprofen.
Huh. For the aches and the existential golfing dread, I guess.
Probably. And there's a great story about the windmill, too. Classic Pine Valley.
Go on.
Supposedly, a member suggested the windmill design to the club president at the time, John Arthur Brown. Brown was known for being, let's say, very careful with the club's finances and standards.
Okay.
So this member makes the suggestion. Brown's response, he just sent the member the entire bill for building it.
You're kidding.
Nope. The message was clear. Nice idea, you pay for it. That's Pine Valley culture, ultimate private enterprise, right down to the architectural details.
Incredible. Okay, so you survive the sand, maybe grab some ibuprofen at the windmill. You finally get to the greens. The ordeal isn't over, is it?
Not even close. The greens are the final exam, and they're often overlooked because the sand is so dramatic, but they are absolutely brutal. Their size varies wildly. Some are huge, like football fields, where you face these massive putts. Others are tiny postage stamps that are incredibly hard to hit and hold.
And the shapes. The descriptions are wild.
They really are. People have called them frozen waves, rumpled blankets, even elephant burial grounds, which gives you this image of huge, unpredictable mounds, dips, and swales. Nothing is flat. Nothing is straightforward.
And how does that crazy topography work with the speed? Because Pine Valley greens are famously fast, right?
Oh, terrifyingly fast, especially for tournaments like the Crump Cup. They'll easily get them rolling at 12, maybe even 13 on the Stimpmeter.
And for comparison, what do most regular courses run at?
Most good clubs might aim for 9 or 10. Tour speeds are often 11 or 12, so 13 is slick. Really slick. Now imagine that speed on a surface described as a frozen wave.
Yeah, putting becomes physics, not just feel.
Exactly. The slopes can be so severe that your actual aim point for a putt might be literally 90 degrees away from the hole. You're aiming way out to the side, just trusting that gravity and the slope will eventually curve the ball back towards the cup. Maybe.
Which must mean you absolutely need a caddy.
Indispensable. The sources call them the best caddy core in the world, and you believe it. The greens are so complex, the slopes so subtle yet severe, and the reads change depending on where you are. You simply cannot read them accurately without experienced local knowledge.
They're like translators for the terrain.
Perfect analogy. They translate that rumpled blanket, that elephant burial ground, into something you can actually try to navigate. Without them, you're just guessing. And at Pine Valley, guessing usually leads to 3 putts, or worse. It's interesting. While the sheer length and the sand get a lot of attention, Pine Valley's claim to being the best also rests heavily on its par 3s. They're widely, almost universally called the best set of short holes in the world.
What makes them so special? Is it just the difficulty?
It's the variety and the strategic brilliance. The sources point out that you'll likely need a different club on every single one. They test every iron in your bag, from short wedges to long irons or even hybrids. Incredible versatility in design.
And within that set, we have to talk about the 10th, maybe the most notorious hole on the course, even though it's short.
Infamous is the word. It's only 142 yards from the middle tee. Should be a simple wedge, maybe a 9-iron for most good players. But standing on that tee, it's pure terror.
Why? What's the challenge?
It's all carry. You have to fly your ball over this deep, wide chasm of sand and scrubby wasteland directly onto the green surface. There's no bailout, no room for error. And then there's the feature.
Ah, yes. The source material mentions the darkened aperture short right, known less formally as
The devil's asshole. Yes, it's this incredibly deep, small pot bunker tucked right against the green. Steep-faced, menacing, it looks like a bottomless pit, and it has this magnetic pull. Apparently no one walks past it without peering down into the darkness. It's pure penal design. Miss slightly right, and you're in golf hell.
And the scores there reflect that. There's the Bob Hope story, right?
Classic. Bob Hope, a very good amateur golfer, plays the front nine, which is brutally tough in its own right, a respectable 43. He must be feeling pretty good.
I think.
Then he gets the 10th. This little short hole should be a chance to relax, maybe make a birdie instead. He finds the trouble, maybe the famous bunker, maybe other spots, and walks off with an 11.
11 on a 142-yard hole.
It's designed to destroy you psychologically. It breaks your momentum, shatters your confidence. It can ruin the rest of your round right there.
And the other par threes keep up this theme of intense immediate punishment if you're slightly off.
Absolutely. Take hole 3. It's longer, 198 yards, playing slightly uphill. You have to carry over what the sources call the gnarliest topography imaginable.
Gnarliest topography.
Just jagged, sandy, scrubby chaos. And the green itself is described as skull-shaped, and it tilts severely from right to left.
Skull-shaped.
That severe tilt is lethal. If you're above the hole, putting downhill, the slightest misjudgment in speed or line sends your ball trickling, then racing, right off the green into bunkers or rough below, which explains the story of Jay Sigel W.
Oh, yeah. What happened?
During the Crump Cup, the club's prestigious amateur event, he apparently 7-putted the 3rd green.
7 putts on 1 green.
7 putts. Can you imagine the mental anguish? Watching your ball just refuse to stop near the hole, rolling away again and again. That's the kind of psychological torture Pine Valley inflicts.
Unbelievable. Then there's hole 5. It's got a nickname too, right? The Frankenstein monster?
That's the one. Harry Colt, the architect who visited briefly, supposedly considered this hole his masterpiece at Pine Valley, right up there with his work at Sunningdale.
What makes it monstrous?
It's a long par 3, playing uphill to a green guarded by this massive complex of deep, intimidating bunkers carved into the hillside on the left. And that's exactly where most players miss it today, drawn towards the trouble.
And another famous blow-up happened there.
Yeah, Gene Littler, a major champion, smooth swing, known for his consistency. He once made what they call a newspaper 7 on the 5th during a match against Byron Nelson, a 7 on a par 3. Again, it shows that even the very best can be brought to their knees by one misplaced shot on these holes.
Okay, so we've had short terror, skull shapes, Frankenstein monsters. What about the last par 3?
Hole 14. It's the final one, playing about 210 yards from the back tees. And it's visually stunning, but terrifying. You play downhill over a huge expanse of sand like a beach to what is essentially an island green, surrounded by sand and water hazards.
Dramatic finish to the par 3s.
Very dramatic. And also the site of perhaps the most legendary high score in Pine Valley history. A Washington attorney named John Brooks apparently holds the unofficial record. He played the 14th hole in him. 46 strokes.
46. 46 on 1 hole. How is that even possible?
It boggles the mind, doesn't it? The sources suggest it was just a complete meltdown. The hole is exposed, windy, the green is small. Maybe keep hitting it in the water or the sand, losing ball after ball, losing his mind. The course offers no mercy. The punishment just keeps piling up.
46. I can't even fathom that.
And adding insult to injury, as you walk off the 14th green, finally done with your ordeal, the sources say you better cover your head, because players teeing off on the 15th hole behind you often bomb their drives right over that area. Incoming.
These stories, the history, they really paint a picture of just how demanding this place is. Let's look at a few more specific holes. Hole 2. It's short on the card, right? Only 368 yards.
Yeah, it looks manageable. But it's described as the longest, most treacherous 368 yards in golf.
Why so treacherous?
It demands absolute precision. The fairway is incredibly narrow, just 32 yards wide, and it climbs uphill, flanked on both sides by these deep, nasty, herringbone-patterned bunkers. You're aiming for this tiny ribbon of fairway, and you can barely even see the top of the flagstick on the green.
So if you miss that narrow fairway...
Members call it a death sentence. A missed fairway almost guarantees a double bogey or worse. There's just nowhere safe to miss. It perfectly captures Crump's idea. Pretty good is useless. You need perfect.
Okay, so that's precision. Contrast that with hole 4. The longest par 4, 584 yards. That's basically a par 5 anywhere else.
It's an absolute beast, a true three-shotter for most players. And it starts with a heroic challenge, a blind tee shot that you have to carry over a huge area of sand and scrub. You just pick a line and hope.
Blind and heroic. And speaking of heroic, or maybe just unusual, there's the story about Carlton Forrester.
Ah, yes, during the 2012 Crump Cup, he etched his name into Pine Valley lore by playing a shot off the clubhouse roof.
Off the roof? How did he even get up there? Or why?
The details are hazy, but it speaks to the kind of bizarre situations Pine Valley can put you in. You might end up in places you never imagined, meeting shots you never practiced, playing off the clubhouse roof.
Yeah.
It's just part of the legend.
It sounds like the ability to recover or just execute under insane pressure is everything. Which brings us to Jaywood Platt.
The great amateur. And his feat on the front nine is maybe the most famous story of Pine Valley brilliance, followed by Pine Valley reality.
Okay, lay it on us. This sounds amazing.
So Platt goes out on arguably the hardest course on earth. Hole 1, birdie. Okay, great start. Hole 2, hits a 6-iron into the hole for an eagle 2. Hole 3, steps up, makes a hole-in-one, an ace.
Birdie, eagle, ace. To start.
You got it. Then he gets to the difficult 4th hole, drains a 30-foot putt for another birdie. So after 4 holes at Pine Valley, Jaywood Platt is 4 under par. Birdie, eagle, ace, birdie.
That's beyond belief. That's like video game golf. What did he shoot for the round?
Well, that's the punchline. After achieving this utterly impossible, maybe never to be repeated stretch of golf, he walked straight off the 4th green and went directly to the bar.
He quit after that start.
Didn't finish the round.
Yeah.
Apparently went to steady his nerves and just stayed there. It's like he knew he'd tempted fate too much. He'd achieved perfection, and the only way to preserve it was to stop before Pine Valley inevitably took it all back.
That is the most Pine Valley story ever. Peak difficulty, peak pressure, peak weirdness.
Exactly. And his legend lives on the Maine Caddy Scholarship Fund in Philadelphia is named after him.
Amazing. Beyond the golfing feats, there's also a kind of spiritual lore, isn't there? The miracle of the bridge at 15, involving Bobby Jones.
That's right. The story goes that Bobby Jones came to Pine Valley in 1930. He was in a bit of a slump right before the final leg of what would become his historic Grand Slam. He was hoping to find his game, maybe relax. Not at first. He was playing poorly, getting frustrated. He apparently cursed the ducks on the pond by the 15th tee after another bad shot. But then, as he walked across the long wooden bridge over the water hazard there, something happened.
Like what?
The sources say he felt this sudden epiphany, this wave of natural calm just washed over him. The slump, the frustration, it just vanished right there on the bridge.
And then he went on to win the Grand Slam.
He did. Completed the unprecedented slam. So the bridge became the symbol of Pine Valley's almost mystical power to test you, break you, but maybe also restore you.
Wow. Okay, so the course challenges you physically, mentally, maybe even spiritually. And it finishes strong, too. The 18th hole gets high praise.
It's often called the finest 18th hole anywhere. A 483-yard par 4, described as a wonder of the world. The tee shot is from an elevated tee, demanding a long carry. But it's the second shot that's the real killer.
The final exam.
Absolutely. You face this long approach shot, usually with a wood or long iron, that has to carry over sand, then rough, then water, then more sand, all uphill to the final green perched near the clubhouse. It demands length, accuracy, nerve. Everything Pine Valley has been testing for the previous 17 holes, all rolled into one last, brutal question.
If you survive that, you've truly earned your drink in the clubhouse. Which brings us to the club itself, the social side, the exclusivity.
Right, because its status as #1 isn't just about the course architecture, it's also about the aura. Pine Valley is widely, universally regarded as the most exclusive, most prestigious golf club in the world.
Getting in is notoriously difficult, mostly members and their guests or competitors in the Crump Cup.
That's pretty much it. There are only about 900 members worldwide. Access is incredibly limited, which protects the experience.
And it's expensive, presumably? The sources give some estimates.
There's just rumors, as the club is intensely private, but initiation fees are thought to be anywhere from, say, $20,000 up to well over $100,000. And annual dues could be $10,000, $20,000, maybe even up to $50,000 a year. You're paying a significant amount for the privilege of being punished by the course.
And that buys you access to more than just the golf course, right? There are other amenities.
Oh, sure. There's a beautiful historic clubhouse, a famous dining room, a classic bar, tennis courts, even a swimming pool. But make no mistake, everything revolves around the golf and maintaining a certain atmosphere, a decorum.
Which leads to the rules. Pine Valley is famous for its strict rules.
Extremely strict. They enforce a culture of discipline that kind of mirrors the discipline the course demands. The dress code is absolute. Collared shirts, slacks for men. Dresses, skirts, appropriate blouses for women. Absolutely no denim, no shorts on the course, ever. No athletic wear outside of, say, the tennis courts.
And the technology policy is legendary, too. Cell phones?
Big no-no. Strictly forbidden on the course. Not allowed to be used in the clubhouse either, except maybe in designated phone booths or your locker room. They want complete focus, no distractions.
It's about preserving that immersive, intense experience.
Exactly. When you're there, you're there. Focused on the golf, the competition, the tradition, the company, not the outside world, and guests. You can bring them, usually up to 3, but they have to be with their member host at all times. They guard the gates, both literally and figuratively.
So let's bring it back to that core philosophy, the punishment. John Arthur Brown, the longtime president, he acknowledged the criticism, right, that the punishment for an error is out of proportion to the degree of the error.
He did, and his famous response was basically, yeah, we know. And we like it that way.
Seriously.
That was the attitude. Brown argued that the thrill of Pine Valley is that constant high-stakes battle. The fact that you can't let up, not for 1 second, or the course will destroy you. That constant tension, that demand for perfection or incredible recovery, that's what makes it great in their eyes.
Bernard Darwin, the writer, he touched on this too, didn't he? Questioning if it was maybe too unfair sometimes.
He did. But he concluded that the real test, the essence of Pine Valley, wasn't just hitting good shots. It was how a player recovered mentally after getting a horrific result, maybe even from a decent shot that just caught a bad bounce or a gust of wind.
So it's not just skill, it's resilience, moral fortitude.
Precisely. Can you accept a 7 when you felt you hit a good shot? Can you wipe the slate clean and step onto the next tee believing you can hit the perfect shot required, knowing the course is basically designed to exploit any tiny weakness, any lapse in concentration? That's the ultimate question Pine Valley asks. #HagOutro.
So wrapping this up, looking back at everything we've discussed, Pine Valley's #1 status, it really seems to come from this unique storm of factors, doesn't it?
It really does.
You've got the land itself, that ancient, sandy, almost prehistoric terrain. Then the architectural genius, that blend of penal, heroic, and strategic thinking on literally every hole.
No.
And the result is just legendary, relentless difficulty. 18 distinct masterpieces, as one source said, not an indifferent one among them.
And layered on top of that is the deliberate culture, that intense exclusivity, the traditions, the rules. It all works together to preserve Crump's original punishing vision.
It's a massive place, too, right? Over 600 acres.
Huge. And besides the main course, there's also a fantastic 10-hole short course and what people call the most hallowed practice range in captivity. It's the ultimate laboratory for golf, but fundamentally it's a test of your spirit, maybe more than just your swing.
Which brings us to that final thought, maybe building on Darwin. If Pine Valley is the ultimate golf exam, and it openly admits the punishment is often way harsher than the mistake warrants, how does facing a task that is intentionally unfair, how does that change you as a golfer, maybe even as a person? Does it change how you think about pursuing perfection?
It's a fascinating question. Darwin quipped that the right of eternal punishment should be reserved for a higher authority. But Pine Valley kind of brings it down to earth, applies it with sand and slopes. Maybe the pursuit of perfection there isn't about actually achieving it, because the course makes that almost impossible. Maybe it's about acknowledging you will fail, probably often, and the real test is how you respond. Do you quit and go to the bar like J. Wood Platt? Or do you somehow keep fighting against that inevitable punishment?
Makes you wonder if the goal isn't really about the score, but about whether you can just endure the anxiety and keep your head held high. Well, something to ponder. We hope you found this deep dive into golf's ultimate test worthwhile, because the sources promise if you ever get the chance to experience Pine Valley, it's something you will never, ever forget.